There are places on maps that don't exist, not because nobody explored them, but because something made sure they were left out. Daniel was a map maker. He believed in facts, not ghosts. So when he found a strange smudge on an old survey map, he assumed it was a mistake and set out to correct it. The road ended at a fog-covered valley. No houses, no lights, no sound except the wind. He wrote in his notebook, "Valley present. No settlement visible." Then he camped nearby. The silence that night felt wrong. Not peaceful, expectant, like the world was holding its breath. At dawn, he woke to laughter, voices, and the smell of fresh bread. The empty valley now held a town. It wasn't abandoned. People walked the streets, chatted in doorways, and went about their day as though the town had always been there. Daniel entered cautiously. No one seemed surprised to see him. A woman sweeping outside a bakery glanced up and said, "You'll want tea." Her name was Kala. She explained that the town was called Velum and had existed for as long as anyone remembered. She answered every question except one. "Where do you all go between Tuesdays?" Daniel asked. She smiled gently. "We don't go anywhere. You do." Daniel laughed and wrote it down. The next Tuesday, Velum was there again, and the Tuesday after that. Soon, he visited every week. At first, he filled notebooks. Later, he stopped taking notes. He told himself he was simply becoming familiar with the place, but something was changing. Tuesday remained vivid in his mind, every detail crystal clear. The rest of the week became hazy. One evening, he tried to remember what he'd done on Friday. He couldn't. The only memories that felt real came from Velum. On his 11th visit, Kala met him at the edge of town. "You're counting," she said. "I'm a researcher." "You were a researcher." She looked at him carefully. "What did you do last Wednesday?" Daniel opened his mouth. Nothing came. Thursday? Again. Nothing. "What is this place doing to me?" he whispered. "Nothing," Kala replied. "You keep coming back, that's all." That night he called his sister just to hear an ordinary voice. She talked about broken appliances and supermarket arguments. Daniel cried through the entire conversation. Then he stopped visiting. One Tuesday passed, then another. He buried himself in work and forced himself to stay away. But every week, the pull grew stronger. By the 5th Tuesday, he found himself parked outside the valley with no memory of driving there. Velum was waiting. This time the town felt different, quieter. As he wandered, he noticed a building he'd somehow never seen before. Above its narrow door was a single word: records. Inside, shelves stretched from floor to ceiling, packed with notebooks. He pulled one down. His handwriting. The first line read, "There are places on maps that don't exist." Cold fear swept through him. He grabbed another notebook. Different handwriting, same opening line. Then another and another. Hundreds of notebooks. Different people, different years, the same story. Each account ended in the same place, inside this room. Daniel sank to the floor. At last he understood. Velum wasn't trapping anyone. It simply became the most real thing in their lives. Week after week, everything else faded. Family, friends, entire years. Until Tuesday was the only day that felt alive. Shaking, he opened his own notebook and turned to the final page. The entry was dated weeks in the future. It was written in his handwriting. Calm, certain. He read aloud. "I have been Velum's mapmaker for 19 years. I no longer remember my old life. Today, I finished the map. It shows a valley, a town, and a figure stepping from the fog for the first time. In one corner, I have drawn a small smudge. The next one will find it. They always do." Daniel lowered the notebook. Through the window, he saw a figure emerging from the fog. They carried a notebook and a recorder. They wore the expression of someone arriving somewhere for the very first time, and Kala was already walking out to meet them.